It is that time once again. We are taking a trip, rewinding back at the time, the year 1996. The event, In Your House 6, February 18th of 1996. Rage in a Cage. And get ready, because this was one of my personal favorite In Your House events, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down from top to bottom. The events back then were not too long. It was under 2 hours, so this is going to be pretty short, concise, and to the point. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions. It all went down in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was the event before WrestleMania 12. But before we get into it, before we break everything down, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below. You can follow me on the IG at TakeItHomeTV, on Twitter at JHAG719. That's JHAGG719. You know what we do here. We ring that bell and wrap up each and everything and every event in the world of pro wrestling. Now, haven't had an episode, Flashback Friday episode, in quite some time. I decided to resurrect it. I've been under the weather a little bit, haven't been able to get a lot of videos out there. I'm switching some things up on the channel. Hopefully everybody enjoys it. Okay, I want you to leave comments below. Let me know what you think of this and other videos that I post up here. So stay tuned. Always going to be a lot of content coming your way. I want to give a special thank you to all my subscribers, all my supporters on all social media platforms, all of the bell ringers. Oh yeah, baby. You know, 1996 was a transitional year, I believe, for the business of pro wrestling, especially for the WWE, WWF at the time. This was the year that they lost a lot of superstars, a lot of their main talent, to WCW. And this is when the wars began. Shawn Michaels won the World Championship against Bret Hart, this guy right here, at WrestleMania, in that grueling Iron Man match. We remember, it was 1 month right after this event. And Shawn held that belt throughout the year of 96 and held literally that company on his back for the entire year. As his friends, most of them, left and went off to WCW. This was the last pay-per-view that the entire CLIQ was a part of on the card. Razor Ramon, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Diesel, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels all were featured in matches on this card at this pay-per-view, and it was something special. I know there was one right after Mania, but I don't believe Razor was on the card. I know that Diesel was on the card against Shawn Michaels, good friends, better enemies, but I believe this was the last one. And I remember watching this on pay-per-view, and I enjoyed this event right here. And we're going to break it down. Wasn't that long. I enjoyed that also, because back then, you know, pay-per-views were only like 2 hours. If it wasn't a big pay-per-view like WrestleMania, 2 hours. That's all it was in your house. A little bit under 2 hours. So this was a special time, and we know the wars began in 96, and we'll talk about everybody that, you know, eventually went off, and we all know by now who those names were. But let's start it up, top to bottom, baby. It started off. Get the bottles ready. Get the diapers, the powder. We had the first and, well, the only ever crybaby match between the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Razor Ramon. And it started the show off right. I enjoyed this match. And, you know, I look back at it, and it's just nothing big. There was nothing big done in this match. There was no crazy high spots. And that was how it was back then, you know. And it was all psychology. Razor, of course, with his vintage fall-away slam, doing one off of the top rope to the 1, 2, 3 Kid. Kid, he was ahead of his time. He was extremely underrated. 1, 2, 3 Kid was extremely underrated. Back then, doing maneuvers like he was doing with the spinning heel kicks and jumping over the top rope, the planches, suicide dives, moonsaults. Not many people did that. Maybe the Kid and Shawn Michaels, that was it. So back then, that was something huge. He brought that, you know, for that time period, that unorthodox offense to the ring, and made for an exciting match. So the Kid, Ramon, they did their thing in the ring. Ted DiBiase was also a part of this. He was in the corner of the 1, 2, 3 Kid. I gotta say, Vince and Lawler, oh man, premier on commentary in this match. Jerry Lawler the whole night with the one-liners. It was enjoyable, I could say that, to say the least. There was a spot in the match where the Kid locked in a sleeper hold on Ramon. He was holding that sleeper hold for a little time. It looked like Ramon was going to pass out. He got out of it. Nice missile drop kick also at one spot by the Kid in the ring. Ted DiBiase tried to interfere. The Kid had the powder. Ramon seen it, kicked the powder in his eyes. Razor's Edge. He wasn't done with him. He picked him up. No. One more Razor's Edge for good measure, Chico. Hey, yo. The bad guy, Using, with Machismo, wins this match. And then, well, following the match, it is a crybaby match. So they pulled it out. He got the diaper on the Kid, put the bottle right in his mouth, on his face, the powder. The Kid was just a mess in the middle of the ring. Even Ramon hitting DiBiase, okay, coming out on top of this one, and just the Kid looking foolish in that ring with powder and the diaper on, and he was crying. And I would too if I looked like that in front of about 10 to 20,000 people. So that was the first match of the night. Ramon gets the victory over the Kid. And then, we move on. And we're seeing a backstage segment. It was Sonny and Ray Rougeau. They were talking about the Superstar line. And they had a little issue with Jake Robertson, the Snake, and Sonny back then. Sonny, well, she knows about snakes and some other people's snakes. But that's besides the point. Back then, thinking about it now, Sonny that was the sex appeal back then, man. Sonny was, I think, every teenager's and every young man's dream back then, okay? She was hot. That was my personal favorite female back then, Sonny. I had visions of Sonny dancing in my head and when I was dreaming. But anyway, we got to move on here before I get off track. Next match, Duke Droese, who had a recently shaved head due to Triple H cutting his hair, takes on Triple H, the Blue Blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and I believe her name was in his corner, maybe Elizabeth, or I forget the name. There was a woman that was in his corner at the time, and she went on to the commentary with Jerry Lawler and McMahon, and I thought about this match, and it wasn't nothing special again. Decent match, nothing spectacular. Triple H, man, just go back and look at this match, and just, you could tell just by the little subtle things that he does in this match and what he did back then, his character, you knew he was going to be a star, man. He had the it factor, if you will, all over him. From a fan's point of view, I didn't see it back then. I was young. But looking now, as I got older and as I can, tell who is a real athlete and who can deliver and who has that special something, well, that's something special, I should say. Couple spots in the match. Triple H taking Duke right into the steel steps viciously. Around the ring for a couple other spots, back into the ring, and then ultimately Triple H takes advantage of the fact that Duke put the trash can in the ring, hits him with the lid when the ref wasn't looking, the lid, boom, gets tossed right out of the ring, pins him 1, 2, 3, Hunter gets the victory. Nothing special here, folks. Hunter just putting the boots to Duke Droese. And you think about Duke Droese, like, what happened to that guy? He came in, I believe, at the end of 94. He was hot in 95 and just was not in 96 and just plummeted. His career didn't go nowhere. It was stagnant. And I think it was also because he just came at a bad time. WWE was transitioning. We talked about that, transitional period. They were transitioning off of those characters. They were transitioning off of those, Bastion Boogers and, all those characters that they had going on, the electricians and the TL Hoppers, the plumbers and the garbage men, okay? They wanted real life people, okay? They wanted something that people could relate to, I guess, and take away from the characters, but make everybody be themselves. I guess that's what they were going at, getting a little more attitude injected into the product. So Droese didn't make the cut, man. That's just what happened, unfortunately. But Triple H did, and we all know how that turned out. Thank God for Triple H because, man, he's putting on the best in-ring product today, in my opinion. All right, the third match of the card was Yokozuna going up against the British Bulldog with James E. Cornette in his corner. And Yoko at the time, he was on like a little hiatus. He comes back. He's seeking revenge. Going after the Bulldog. The match was a hard-hitting match. It still amazes me how Yokozuna, man, his size and his stature, how he can move around in that ring. And I don't know, he was getting bigger, though, at this time. And, he got to a point where it's really, really unhealthy to have him in the ring. I think he broke an ankle, and eventually he just departed with the WWE. I believe also in '96, that's when they were telling him like he has to drop some lbs because you know what, it's liability, to be honest with you. But anyway, you know, God rest his soul. I don't want to talk bad about the dead. Yoko and you know, Bulldog as well, God rest his soul. But Yoko and Bulldog in the middle of the ring, decent match. You know, nothing spectacular. Powerhouse match. Bulldog surprised me with a couple of top rope maneuvers, which is, you know, not like him. You see the Samoan drop by Yoko. Yes. Contrary to popular belief, Yokozuna was not Japanese. He was part of the Samoan family, for those that did not know. But ultimately, it was Yoko getting the win via disqualification because of Jim Cornette hitting him with that tennis racket in the middle of the ring. Okay, Yoko, man, the guy wasn't selling it. He wasn't feeling it, I guess. I mean, he's so massive. And then look at Jim Cornette in the way he was swinging that racket around. Then Vader comes in the ring, and the two are duking it out. Vader and Yoko, but they got the best of him, man. They took Yoko, they wrapped him up on the rope, handcuffed him. They were pummeling Yokozuna, him and the Bulldog, putting the boots to him with Cornette. Cornette's holding the referee. I mean, just classic Cornette. You know, back in the day, I loved Jim Cornette up until, you know, some of the recent issues that have been, you know, surfacing with him and things that he has been saying, and I just hope it's not true. I just hope he's not, you know, really a racist, you know, to be honest with you, very blunt with you. You know, at least the guy, the only credit I can give him is the fact that he does not back down and does not apologize for things that he says, but it sounds like somebody we all know. Trump. Anyway, moving along here, back onto wrestling. Yeah, decent match. Just set up their WrestleMania, what was supposed to be their WrestleMania match, which we found out turned into a 6-man tag match. But we'll get to that a little bit later on with Rowdy Piper, right after I talk about this next match, which was the match that stole the show. And no surprise at all, because when you're putting the best in-ring technician, the best overall athlete of all time, in my opinion, in the ring, with one of the best technicians of all time in the ring, you're going to get a damn good match. And that's what we had here. Shawn Michaels went one-on-one with Owen Hart, rest his soul. In this match, if Shawn lost, he was going to give Owen Hart that #1 contendership to face his brother once again, possibly, at WrestleMania 12, which we all found out did not happen. And Shawn just came off a huge victory at the Rumble 1996. We know how the year played out for Shawn. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But this was the big one here. This was it. Him, Owen, back in the ring. He wanted revenge because we've seen what had happened last year, 1995, with that vicious, devastating enziguri that put Shawn on the shelf, knocking him out, putting him damn near in a coma. That segment had everybody holding their breath. The crowd, people were crying. I mean, something perfectly planned. Thank God it wasn't real. I thought it was real all this time. Found out it wasn't, folks. But a damn good segment they had with that. So this was it. Shawn looking for that revenge. Owen looking to just put him on the shelf one more time. The match was set, and it started fast. Shawn in the ring, getting Owen out of there, celebrating. A little bit of dancing. My old HB Shizzle himself did a little Hogan there. That wasn't Shawn. This is Shawn right there. Shawn Michaels. So I was man on the edge of my seat with this match because it was exciting, and for back then, we didn't get a lot of these matches that they put on. Owen Hart. I got to say something about Owen here, man. You know, it takes a real good bad guy, I should say, to make a real good guy. Let's put it in simplest terms, in lamest form. Okay, Owen Hart was that guy. Owen Hart was just extremely underrated. Another guy that was underrated, man. So talented. You could see it, man. Back then, you know, I didn't know. You know, I was younger. And as I got older, I started to realize, you know, especially after Owen's passing, started watching all the old Owen matches and stuff in Blue Blazer. This man was talented, man. I just wish he was around nowadays. I really do, because I would have loved to see him in a match with like an AJ Styles or Ricochet or, you know, somebody like that. I mean, Daniel Bryan. That would be incredible. Think about Owen and Daniel Bryan. Jesus, what the matches that we could have had, that we could have seen, man. Just, you know, God rest Owen. So, but this match right here with him and Michaels, man, they definitely delivered in the match, and they pulled out all the stops. Michaels, crazy crossbody off that top rope, right on the outside to Owen Hart. Funny spot, Michaels has Owen in the ring, and he's grabbing his hair, he's shaking him when the ref's back is turned, and Cornette, I believe he's trying to like, yo, go, turn around, ref, and then Michaels is looking again, he's shaking Owen. It was hilarious. You got to go back there. Owen selling it, man. It was just, you got to watch that. You got to watch that part. Owen hits an enziguri again on the outside, and Lawler's like, that's it, he's knocked out. Oh, man, that's it, Curtin Michaels. Owen got this. You know, goes back in the ring. We thought that was that, once again, that devastating enziguri, but no. Michaels kicks out. Owen gets the sharpshooter, locks it in the middle of the ring. Michaels gets to the rope. Breaks out of the sharpshooter over here. Michaels hits that elbow right off the top rope. Goes for the super kick. Owen ducks. Goes to the enziguri. Michaels moves. Bang! Super kick. 1, 2. Yes! Mr. McMahon said, as Vince said in that match, Michaels gets all of it. He got all of it. 1, 2. Yes! Shawn Michaels winning the match. Going on to WrestleMania to face Bret the Hitman Hart, which we would find out right after this main event with him and Diesel. And celebrating as only HBK can in the ring with a young child over there that was dressed like Shawn Michaels. Great match. Great. I mean, there's so much more to this match, psychology-wise. I mean, I urge you, if there's any match on this show that you need to watch, it's this one right here. This should have been the main event, but it wasn't. It wasn't, because the championship match was the main event, and rightfully so. And you know what? Before I get into this match, because there was a little segment before that as well, but I got to just say this. The World Championship titles meant so much more back then. They were just so valuable back then. Like, there was 3 championships. There was Tag Team, Intercontinental, and then World. Why oversaturate it? Why complicate things? The world title had a lot of value back in the 90s, back in the 80s, even the early 2000s. Like, the whole scene got oversaturated with championships, and champions don't hold the belt with pride. Not many of them do. You have to bring that back. That's what I want to see. I want to see less titles, more value to those belts, and the champions holding those titles with pride, fighting for that championship, because that is all they want. That is what everybody should strive for, to be world champion. I want to see hunger. I don't see hunger anymore. I don't see it anymore. But anyway, back on to Rage in the Cage. Before we get to the cage, Rowdy Piper, one of my personal favorites of all time. Rowdy Piper, the interim president, if you will, taking over for Monsoon. Monsoon was injured due to Vader's attack. I believe that's what happened, or maybe that was beforehand. Maybe I'm getting a little confused here. Anyway, Piper is the president at the time. Comes out and is like, I'll tell you, we're going to do something, Yokozuna. Yeah, I see you, big boy. You big boy, Vader. Yeah, you guys, I'm going to get you. Oh, yeah, in the ring. You guys are going to be in a ring. WrestleMania, we're going to set it up. You want to fight? You got to fight. A fight you're going to get. That's what happened. Piper, I can't do a great impression of Rowdy Piper. Rest his soul as well. But sets the match. He's making fun of Vader, talking about having a jockstrap on his head. Sets the match for WrestleMania, him and Yokozuna. Cornette comes out there, and then Piper's like, you know what? Oh, yeah, Jimmy boy, listen, and guess what? If Vader doesn't win, you lose your job. So Piper made this match a little bit interesting. We would find out Piper's last appearance and match would be at Mania against Goldust in a parking lot brawl, which was just it was a memorable match, which we all remember from 1996 and WrestleMania 12. Rowdy Piper, the guy was just always, again, another guy, individual, ahead of his time, and great on the mic, just really could deliver. A really great bad guy, and when he's a good guy, he's a really good guy. I mean, I'll tell you, man, any role you put Piper in, he would have delivered, man. So, miss that guy, miss him on the microphone. But, here we are. Here it is. The final match of In Your House 6, Louisville, Kentucky, February 18, 1996. Bret the Hitman Hart defending his world championship against Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Now, we know the outcome of the match. We know that Bret won because he went on to Mania to face Shawn in the Iron Man match. We don't know how it ended, though. Most of you may not know. So I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get into this match. Now, before I break down some spots in the match, I got to say, it wasn't a very exciting match. Kicks, punches, working body parts. Psychology, right? But I think, and I felt this way, I don't know, if you watch it and go back to it, let me know what you think of this match. I thought it was a little overdrawn. You had some spots where, you know, they attempted to escape the cage, and then Diesel pulled Bret back in, and Diesel tried to get out, and Bret got him back in, and, you know, Bret took some vicious bumps in that, you know, that steel cage. Those steel cages, remember those blue cages? Those blue cages, man, I miss those cages, man. It was so easy for the talent, I guess, to step on and climb over because there was a big gap there. And classic. I enjoyed some of those blue cage matches, if you will. I think my favorite was probably from '94 between Bret and Owen. But anyway, this match over here wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't a great match either. It wasn't, you know, it was nothing special in the match. Now, Diesel was trying to get some retribution and win his championship back after he lost it at Survivor Series '95. He's in this match. Could we have possibly seen Shawn and Diesel once again at WrestleMania? Okay, and that was the question here. And I thought it was the perfect opponent for Bret Hart because you didn't know what was going to happen. Are we going to see a rematch of Mania or are we going to see something different? We know how that turned out. Now, the ending of this match, awesome. That's what made the match, the ending. Bret's over there in one section. Diesel's trying to escape out of the door. Bret's looking to climb out of the cage. Out from under the ring pops The Undertaker. Smoke filling, dragging Diesel down into the depths of hell. Taking him in there. Bret escaping the cage. Diesel looks stunned. Coming out from under the ring. His pant leg is ripped off and scared, shitless. Diesel trying to get out of the way from the Undertaker. Undertaker climbing in. Diesel escapes, climbs over the cage. He's looking in awe at Taker as Taker stands on the cage. Looking at Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Telling you, I'm coming for you, big boy. And getting his revenge because Diesel cost Taker the match at the Royal Rumble. This event set up WrestleMania 12, which I thought is one of the best WrestleManias of all time, in my opinion. I mean, it's got to be in the top 5 or 6. Now, most of you may not think so, but overall, I think so. Was it nothing spectacular? You had that crazy match with Piper and Goldust. You had Diesel and Undertaker, the semi-main event, or the co-main event, if you will. And then you had that Iron Man match, which just one of the greatest matches of all time between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. And, you know, what they didn't show in this was an exclusive. And I remember seeing the exclusive afterwards about, you know, setting that match up with Diesel and Undertaker at Mania. And then the Iron Man match, you know, between Bret and Shawn. Everything was getting ready for that. And, you know, this time period, like I said earlier on, was so special because this was it. And I think at this time, Diesel knew that was it for him. Razor and the Kid did as well. Shawn didn't know if everything was confirmed, but he was definitely in a different world because he knew that he was going on to Mania to win that championship, and he was excited about that. And Shawn did just that. And after that, after him winning the championship and then losing his friends, Shawn he had this chip on his shoulder the whole year of '96. You know, it was just him and Triple H. That was it. They had their final goodbye, MSG. Okay, the CLIQ, the curtain call, infamous curtain call. Okay, breaking kayfabe. Nowadays that would have not meant nothing at all, but back then it was big. It was big because you don't do things like that back then. All right, so after they left, after May, Michaels was he had to hold that company on his shoulders, man. WCW was killing him. WCW was killing the WWE for what we all know. How many weeks, people? 83 weeks. Bischoff talks about the ratings. And yeah, I can understand Shawn Michaels. It's like he couldn't even enjoy that. He could not even enjoy winning that championship and being champion because he had just a lot of weight on his shoulders, man. That company it was breathing through Shawn Michaels, literally. That was it. Shawn was the company. That's it. But all in all, you talk about the 6th In Your House, and I thought it was a damn good In Your House. One of my personal favorites from top to bottom. Okay, nothing tremendous. I mean, people ask me sometimes when I talk about some of these recaps, Jimmy, but what was so special about it? Because you know what? I feel like this. I feel like we get accustomed to all these crazy high spots and these ridiculous matches. And I'm not saying they're all bad. I love some of these crazy matches, but you have to go back to the basics. Eventually, you're going to have to devolve. Eventually, you're going to have to go back to what made pro wrestling and what made people want to watch pro wrestling. Yes, entertainment. But they were invested in what they were seeing, in the characters. They suspended their disbelief, and that is what we need more of. 1996 will forever be remembered as the year the pro wrestling business changed for good. WWE, WWF at the time, lost a lot of talent to WCW. Hulk Hogan became a bad guy, changed the world. NWO was formed. Shawn held this company on his back. WWE had to do something different, started to go into the Attitude Era, started to get out of the character era, and this is where it began, at this event. I'm telling you right now, mark my words, it started right here. The Attitude Era began as soon as Shawn Michaels won that championship at WrestleMania 12. And this was the final event before that happened. Go back, take a look at it, Rage in a Cage, Flashback Fridays. Hopefully you enjoyed my little recap right here. If you want to follow me on the Instagram at TakeItHomeTV, on Twitter at JHack719. Please subscribe below. We do have a Patreon. You can follow us on, or support us rather, on Patreon, patreon.com/TakeItHomeTV, as we continue to ring that bell on the pro wrestling world, then, now, and as long as I'm living. Have a blessed one.